The Game of Thrones TV show does everything in its power to convince you that Renly Baratheon is a homosexual. But in reality, he's actually one of the most straight men in Westeros.
Right, that's true. And this is one of the most popular old theories in this fandom, but we thought we'd resurrect it a little bit because we do subscribe to this theory. First, we're going to go into exactly where the misconception lies, and then later on, we're going to explain exactly what's happening, or at least what we think is happening that gives people throughout Westeros this idea. But what we do know for a fact is that Renly is not gay, at least in the book universe. The TV show, Dan and Dave, for some reason, they added several scenes, very explicit scenes, that make it undeniable that he is gay, and I'm not sure why they did this exactly, but this is a complete concoction of Dan and Dave. In the books, it's much more ambiguous. You have side characters like Catelyn or Marjorie or whoever suspecting that Renly is gay because of how close he is with Loras. But I mean, listen, forgive a guy for having a close male friend. I mean, Domboy, you and me, right? Like, come on.
What is so wrong about having a very close friend like this? This reminds me of every fandom when people ever do sort of fanfic art for it, that if you have two men together, they inherently have to turn homosexual, at least somewhere in the fandom, for the art. Like, look on Twitter. You can just see the degenerates on there trying to just make every single male-on-male relationship. That's such a bad way of describing male-on-male, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, I mean, literally it is.
It doesn't need to be that way. They just don't understand that two men can be friends and very like a tight-knit group. Like, how many times did you see Captain America and Bucky Barnes, like, in a very intimate, sensual...
Oh, I mean, listen, it's a classic buddy cop situation, right? Like, there's nothing better than two guys, the purest relationship that I think exists on planet Earth between two platonic male friends, and if they start at odds with each other and they come together over some kind of traumatic experience through work or through battle or whatever, and they end up as close as a lot of couples are, you know, minus the sexuality, I think that's beautiful, and I think that's exactly what we see with Loras and Renly. I think we should go into a couple of these points of misconception where people point to and say, for sure, this proves that he's gay.
Well, like when Loras is crying about Renly's death, like, is that big of a sick? Oh, wow, he's crying about Renly.
It's his best friend.
Must be, yeah.
His closest best friend. I mean, dude, forgive me, Domboy. Listen, sorry to burst this bubble for everybody, but if you died, I think I shed a few tears at your funeral, at least.
Yeah, at least. And also in the books, Loras is not wearing Renly's armor. Not that would be a very gay thing for him to do, being like, I'm going to wear the armor of my best friend. And everyone's like, dude, why would you do that? That's so, like, you in relationship with him? It's like, no, actually it works out to their favor, and it's actually Garland Tyrell, so Loras' brother, that wears it. And actually gets some of the idiots that are fighting for Stannis, the one true king, to change sides because they think it's the ghost of Renly coming back to take revenge on them. So, I mean... Yeah. It's not just like oh, wow, that was very cute. It's like actually a strategic advantage for them in the war.
Yeah, it's a high IQ military move to fool like the idiots that just happen to be, you know, rolling with Stannis, which unfortunate that that's the case, but Stannis has to work with what he's got, right?
And some people think Renly, the only reason why he married Marjorie was that he could get closer to Loras. Oh, and that he could, be in a more intimate relationship with them. And they're like, oh, look at the wedding. Look at Renly. He's hanging out with Loras more. It's like, dude, he's his bro. What are you going to do with your girl there? You're just going to be like, sit there and talk about small talk, be like, how's the weather in Storm's End? Is it better in Highgarden than it is in Storm's End? Oh, it's like, oh my, dude.
What kind of logic is that?
Me.
Like, think about in real life, any sort of situation where you see a guy who's like a political savvy, whatever, marrying like a super hot, super reasonable, like really ideal woman, right, from another noble house. And your first thought is like, dude, I bet he's just marrying her to get in her brother's pants. Like, why would you think that?
Right.
Where's the logic? It makes absolutely no sense. Just take it at face value for what it is and just like ignore the rumors. Like, there's no logic there. It's not like with the Baratheon bastards, right? Or I should say the Lannister bastards or whatever, where you have like a physical evidence that the rumors are true about Cersei and Jaime, right? You have physical evidence in, the big black book of people's hair colors, right? That is evidence in this world. With Renly, you have nothing. You have nothing except for like a little bit of like nothing, whatever.
So I know some people said at the wedding, it was kind of like, oh yeah, Loras was hanging out with Renly a little too much for comfort. And Marjorie later on then also states that she still has her maidenhead when she wants to go to Joffrey and actually make the Lannister-Tyrell alliance. And they're like, oh, this is two huge indicators that actually Renly is homosexual with Loras. But Marjorie has every incentive to claim that she still has her maidenhead at that point. It's not like, I don't know, he just never did it with me. She needs to have her virginity. I mean, girls all the time lie about their body counts. Not only that, but this has a political implications if she's able to keep her maidenhead.
Right, I mean, Joffrey's kind of a unique situation. He doesn't probably care so much about that. But in a typical situation, the whole maidenhead thing is like the ultimate bartering tool that a noble woman has, right? So it makes complete sense that she would lie about that. And what is Renly going to say? He's dead. She can throw him under the bus all day long. Everybody else has. It's completely, it's just poisoning the well of his name. These rumors are already out there. All she has to do is just like throw a little match and throw it onto the lighter fluid-soaked pile of tinder. You know what I mean? It's going to go up in flames. That's all it takes. He's dead. He can't defend himself. That is complete nonsense. You can't trust a word she says. We're going to find out, by the way, in Winds of Winter. I don't know exactly what medical procedures they're going through down there, you know, with the faith militant or whatever. But if they find out she doesn't have her maidenhead, this whole fandom owes Renly an apology, I think.
Right. Well, also, I just cannot wait to see the comments right now. Scroll down the comments right now. You don't have to comment anything, or maybe reply to a comment here. If some person goes, but in the TV show, we saw Loras shaving Renly. We're talking about the books, and in the books, we have no POVs of Renly, of Loras, of Margaery at all. So we never get their first-person point of view of events. So everything right here is kind of hearsay about the situation, which leaves ambiguity for us to claim that when Renly's biting that peach, what he really wants to bite is the fine peach of Margaery, not Loras. Yeah. Also, it's really nice of Renly to do the bro move of offering Margaery up before he actually goes after it for his brother Robert, being like, hey, Bobby B, just let you know, you're the king. You should probably get first dibs, kind of like right of the first night. Do you want it? Okay, fine, I'll take it. But that's a very nice Renly thing for him.
It is, and it's possibly a win-win for everybody. Get your family as close together as possible with the Tyrells, like we talk about. You know, he's already bros with Loras. Margaery gets with Robert. It's a great situation. And that also kind of makes me wonder if, you know, because like we said, he is straight. But I kind of do wonder if Margaery, like if the reason he was so resistant to Margaery is because maybe he has his eyes on somebody else. Like maybe he's playing a long game and he already has his endgame woman figured out. She didn't know it yet, but she would have been his, you know what I mean, if he didn't die, which I think we should transition now to exactly what's going on here. And I think, this is my explanation for the theory. I think that he keeps his sexuality intentionally ambiguous, not necessarily homoerotic or anything like that, but I think he keeps it ambiguous for both personal and political reasons. He can fraternize with both powerful men and women in this state where he's sexually ambiguous and make powerful alliances with powerful houses through not necessarily gay acts, but maybe gay implications if he has to, or straight implications if he has to, never going over the line. He's a very valuable player in Westeros, no matter how you slice it. You know, he's the third son, but he's the third son of the ruling family in Westeros at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's definitely powerful. He's not anybody to scoff at. So these people are going to be flocking to him, even if he's not giving betrothals out like left and right, right?
Right. This is, you know what he kind of reminds me of, now that you're saying this? He kind of reminds me of Prince, where you look at this guy and you're like, oh, this guy? He's gay.
Right.
And you're like,
or somehow he's not gay.
He actually slays so much tang, dude. He's actually drowning in it. Throw a life vest out for this guy because he's absolutely crushing it. The reason why you think he's gay is because you get feelings.
I thought you said it's because you're gay. Yeah, exactly right.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. Yeah, okay, exactly. You look at him, you go, damn, that's gay. You're like, dude, is it? Or are you looking right in the mirror? It's like, oh, damn, no, I have feelings. Oh, Renly, you're so beautiful.
He does have a nice ass. I can't lie. He's got a nice ass.
He's a Baratheon. He's well-toned, dude. You could imagine, because in the books, he's described as...
He looks like Robert.
Spitting image of Robert, yeah. And Robert, in his prime, dude,
6'6", yoked, peeled like a baby orange, man. Absolutely. And Harry as could be. The show did such disrespect, dude. He couldn't be further from the true image of Renly. Shaved and twink. Shaved and twink. Are you fucking kidding me? I'll give it this. There's a chance.
Dan and Dave, check their hard drives.
No shit, dude. Red flag. I wonder what island they've been to. But, dude, you could say, I guarantee that Renly's more peeled, right, than Robert.
Right.
But he's just as muscular. Like, the muscle percentage is still there. Just the body fat might be a little bit lower. I think he takes a little bit better care of himself. And I think that all ties in, by the way, to why he keeps this ambiguity. You got to understand that Renly is the third son. He's the third. He's not the first. He's not the second. He is the third son. But there's advantages to that. Advantages like he can look at his two older brothers and see where they went wrong, but then understand the advantages that he has inherently as a member of the same tribe. Like we said, he looks just like Robert. He has probably the same physical capabilities if he wants to, but he needs to be reserved because he sees the repercussions that gets Robert. It puts him too much in the limelight. It makes him a target. The drunkenness he's a huge part of it. It kind of makes him a fool. Listen, we love Robert on this channel. We're huge. We'll crank him off all day long and crank off right alongside him, right? But in this situation, I think Renly might be making the better move. When Robert dies in King's Landing and they're trying to figure out who they're going to put on the throne, Renly is the obvious choice if you approach this from a situation where he is both straight and really on his grind and like controlling every aspect of his life. Like, for example, he's not an alcoholic. He doesn't go on the battlefield all the time. I guarantee he has the same urge to, crack skulls and bust nuts on that battlefield, just like Robert. But no one would believe he's anything but like a pee-hungry, barbarian, just like Robert, if he acted out on that like bloodthirst. Right? So he holds himself back. And I think Littlefinger was well aware of that, and that's why he was gunning so hard for Renly. He could see right through the facade. He saw the writing on the wall that this is the guy whose corner you want to be in, right? He's mastering the Baratheon like genealogy. He's getting rid of their mistakes, and he's keeping the positives. He just wasn't able to enact it because Stannis decided to, play with fucking blood magic.
No, I totally agree. Renly definitely wears like flamboyant things too to kind of just draw the attention away from the fact that he could crush you with his thighs, like your head like a watermelon, right? And it's so funny to me that he likes like good clothes. It's not like he wears makeup or anything. Good clothes. Can you imagine being that time period where you're wearing stuff? It's like, oh, he likes indoor plumbing. Oh, what a little pansy. What a little fairy. He likes to be comfortable. And also, like, one of the cloths he likes a lot is, I don't know if it's satin and velvet.
Oh, dude. Yeah, drape yourself in velvet. Eat a block of cheese. He'd never eat a block. Maybe he would. Hey, that's keto, man. Maybe he would be eating a block of cheese. Absolutely. See, that's the thing. No one gives him a chance. Like, they see this like superficial things or whatever, and they condemn him for it. But I think it's intentional. I think he's doing that on purpose. He's got to stay out of the limelight so as he's not seen like a threat. Meanwhile, he's amassing all of this power. Renly with the Tyrells? Like, are you shitting me, dude? That is a superpower right there. But the reality is, too, I do think he's kind of on a semen retention grind set as well to not let the P control his life as he builds alliances. I think it's a distraction. Again, I think this is another thing. He looks at Robert and decides, like, as much as I love my brother, I see that that's gotten him in some trouble once in a while. He has bastards everywhere. It's just not my thing. So I'm not convinced that he actually had sex with Marjorie. So I'm not saying that Marjorie has her maidenhead. All right. Yeah. He may not have had sex with her, and it may have just been because he's on his grind. Like I said, he may have a long-term different woman planned for himself. And she wasn't good enough for him. For all we know, he likes thick Dorna Latina mamas, or Dornish Latina mamas, down there. Baby. For all we know, he might like a little Brienne of Tarth action. You never know, man. And speaking of, by the way, Brienne of Tarth wants this guy shunk in her now, which tells me that, dude, a masculine woman like that, an alpha woman, isn't going to be attracted to a beta, like a gay beta like Show Renly. There's no way. She's going to be attracted to that raw testosterone masculinity of basically Robert Baratheon, who is celibate and tracks his macros, a.k.a. Renly.
And who is the other person to make Brienne even come close to feeling this
say
way?
It. You say it.
Oh, Jaime Lannister.
Jaime Goldhand. Jaime Stinkhand. You know what he can do with that hand? He's got like 6 different attachments. He's like the claw from Inspector Gadget.
Jaime the just got inside you.
Dude, she wishes. She didn't get either one. How sad is that?
Well, speaking of Jaime actually spread some rumors about Renly and Loras. And
he's jealous.
People are like, well, what is Jaime? Jaime says all this stuff, and he's been in court. When has Jaime ever been a truth teller besides whenever he is, and you can say whether he's really telling the truth or not, but when he has his hand cut off and he's in the bath, that's the one time you might say like he's the most truth-telling ever. But usually he's just joking and trying to cut deep at people. When he says something about, I think this line is just so funny where he's like, I'm going to shove it somewhere. I think he's talking to Loras. I'm trying to remember the exact quote, but he's like, I'm going to shove it somewhere where Renly can't even find it. And it's like, what does he mean by that? Does he mean his ass because Renly would never go by Loras' ass? Or does he mean...
Maybe he knows. Maybe he's calling him a super straight, right? Like the implication is that Renly is never going to go anywhere near Loras' ass. Like that's perfect. Jaime's on our side, man.
Yeah, and just any of the other people like Cersei or other oppositions to Renly, they kind of push this. Yeah, he's definitely a flamboyant guy, which again we've stated all the reasons why. All of these potential, red flags of him being that way might just be them misinterpreting everything about it. And Stannis also says something too. He says something like I know who you really are, something like that. He says it's somewhere where they're meeting. He's like, I know who you really are, or like what you really are. And people are like, oh, see, he knows he's a homosexual. It's like, well, no, I think he just knows he is a politically ambitious guy, and he knows Renly is going to do everything in his power to take it. And I think that's the reason why when he says that, and Renly's like, playing around with this peach so much, he's like, maybe Renly's just like, why did Renly get me so bothered by this? Maybe I could have, worked him in the fold a little bit. Because imagine if Renly actually teamed up with Stannis. That team up,
I know.
Dude, that's a
But I don't blame him though. Like, dude, think about from Renly's perspective. If I was Renly and I'm looking at my brother Stannis at the time that we see them, right? It's like I would love nothing more than to ally with my brother, like the true Azor Ahai. Like he'll be king and I'll like rule at his side, right? That's a great situation between these two sober brothers, right? But look at what Stannis has become in a way. Like from a person who's a devout like follower of the Seven, right? Has like this blasphemous like witch who's like worshiping a false idol, and Stannis is kind of getting indoctrinated into it. Like I don't blame Renly for like kind of staying on the straight and narrow path and being like, no, I'm just going to do this the way I know is right. Sure, I'm going to look to my brothers for guidance, but I'm not going to go on their same exact path. I don't blame him for not wanting to. It's the show that portrays him as this like pathetic little whiner. When it comes to opposing Stannis, it's just not right. It's a much more noble path he walks.
And it's kind of funny of Stannis if he ever pokes at Renly about not being that much into women, when Stannis really just only has sex with his wife whenever duty calls, right?
Yes.
He's not some person that's like driven by it. Like if the gene pool of the Baratheons was like sex drive, I think Robert took most of it and they left a little bit for Renly and none for Stannis.
I think Renly's
right?
is just as strong. I think he holds it in. I think it's
so?
a huge discipline thing. Again, remember, because he knows if he starts delving into at least heavy alcohol, right, he's going to be shooting loads left and right, just all over. Every kingdom gets 7 loads for 7 kingdoms, right? That's what he's going to give. But he holds himself back. I know it's like a hot take. Right, it's like a hot take. I think Stannis might be gayer than Renly. I'm not saying Stannis is gay, but I think Stannis might be gayer than Renly.
Whenever they compare Renly to his brothers, they was like, he's so soft. He's such a little dandy. It's like, look who you're comparing him to. Stannis and Robert, like one of the two hard asses, one of the top 2 hard asses in all of Westeros. And Renly happens to be a little more flamboyant. I think it's really just in comparison. It's kind of like whenever you see some person with a dark complexion and their teeth, jump out to you, like, wow, their teeth are really white. It's like, well, they're actually just as white as these people see. They're just
they're yeller, man. They're yeller. But no, think about it like if anybody's ever read Gore the God Butcher, that arc by Jason Aaron for Thor, right, in the Marvel comics, the whole thing is based around like 3 different timelines for Thor. You have like this old like battle-hardened Odin-esque, right, like old man Thor, who's the Allfather at this point, just a Giga Chad huge. And then you have modern day Thor, who's like more serious than the young Thor, right? But he's a Chad as well, and he's like a detective going through and finding out all this shit. And then you have young Thor, who is equally as high T, if not higher T. He's just a little bit less refined, doesn't have the respect and like status that the other two have, just because he hasn't earned it yet. He hasn't had his years in the game. That's exactly what this situation is. Do you really look at young Thor, who's still cracking skulls, as any less of a man than modern Thor and old man Thor, if you guys have read that comic? I'm not sure you guys have read the comic, but if you have, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Absolutely not. Renly is just as much of an alpha as these two.
I think if we ever had a book on Ned and Robert's life before Robert's Rebellion, I would think you would, and then you compare those two to Renly and Loras, you'd probably say Robert and Ned are way gayer than Loras and Renly.
Dude, that's so true. And Stannis. Don't forget Stannis. He's thrown in the mix there too.
What do you say about people that say, the rainbow guard of Renly, don't you see that's a clear homosexual flag? It's a pride flag he has as his king's guard. It's the rainbow guard, Gator. I like the idea of the rainbow guard. Everyone has their own color scheme there, they kind of have their own role.
It's unique as fuck. Show me one other like place around the 7 Kingdoms. There once in a while, some of these sigils, they get kind of muddy and blurry. Like if you were going to war with somebody, right? Like if you were going to go to battle and you're waiting for your people to arrive versus the enemy, and you see an army marching in the distance to meet you, whether or not it be, to join you in battle or to go against you in battle, you're not sure.
Yeah.
And you're trying to squint and see in the distance, who is that? What are those flags? I can't quite see it. You're not going to be able to tell sometimes. Like, okay, it's like a red flag and there's like a ambiguous animal sigil in the middle. Guys, hold on. Give it another 10 minutes or so. I think they'll be coming into focus soon enough. Rainbow Guard emerges on the horizon. You know exactly what the fuck is coming.
Also, I don't know why they do this in so many TV shows when it comes to medieval or antiquity time, where there's like no color and everything is like, people don't know the temples in Greece that they're all like whitewashed now. They actually were very colorful. They painted those, and everyone was like very colorful back then with not only their buildings but their clothes. And George's books, and you see the art for it, very colorful universe. But for whatever reason, everything needs to be thrown with this like very dark, dark filter of these times. You see it within Game of Thrones. I was really hoping Hedge Knight was not going to be so darkly lit, but I think they just have a tone they have to keep up. But I like screw it. I love the flamboyantness of these knights. Just like, yo, I got my drip. Shoot me if you want to, but I'm wearing lime green out the battle, baby.
Dude, I love the flamboyantness. I love straight Renly. I love gay Stannis. I love gay Robert. What's not to love?
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and smash that like button.
Or not. We don't care.